Oh my gosh. Do you ever feel like sometimes it's just a matter of swiping left or swiping right? Like this whole online dating thing, even when it comes to finding clients, the market is so competitive, right? Like, and it just feels like it's this constant swiping. And how in the world do we stand out, stand above, stand apart from everybody else? What if you could, at any time, be able to just clearly state the value of your work so people get it, right? Like, bam, and stop that scroll, right? Wouldn't that change your business? And what if you could show up in a fresh, new, unique way, even though it's been done before, right? And how do you make sure that your offer to everybody out there, that's your ideal people, is love at first sight? Well, stick around, because we're going to be covering these hot topics today. Oh my gosh, you guys, seriously, if you're watching from any other platform other than the Aaron Strayer Show, there's a link right above you in the feed on some of the places we're at. Go ahead and click that. Come on over to the Aaron Strayer Show. We'll be able to see you and your comments, answer some questions about the show there. And this show, in case you're wondering, is all about promoting, cultivating, and expanding amazing female entrepreneurs that are out in the world doing things just a little bit differently. We talk about all the hot topics, like standing out in this massive competitive marketplace, and that people stop scrolling long enough to land and fall in love with you. We're going to talk about that challenge today on the Aaron Strayer Show. That's me. And recovering corporates and entrepreneurs hire me to get them business beyond the basics, because most of them are indecisive. They're held hostage by their own fear and flat out have settled for average. So I help them keep on track by setting obtainable goals, plugging gaping holes in their business and personal lives, and taking their dreams to reality. And bottom line, I provide peak performance scaling strategies for growth-minded entrepreneurs so that you and your business get the attention to detail it deserves. So for the last decade, Holly Chantal has been helping visionary service professionals bring their brand, their business model, and their marketing systems into alignment with the next stage of growth for their business. She has been called the integrator because she helps her clients take their big vision or idea and reverse engineer it to bring it to life the way it feels right for them. She's unbelievably brilliant. She's magnetic. She's going to rock your process today, I guarantee you. So hang around, because here she comes, Miss Holly Chantal. Hello.
Yes, I'm going to rock your process. I love that.
She's going to rock your process. Yeah. And it's like, it's so crazy. Like, I love that people call you the integrator, because you, like, right out of the chute, that's you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, big picture into tangible world is like my thing.
Like, it all is so intermeshed with you and your wheelhouse and what you do and what you bring to the table. And I love that. Like, you're just the getter doner. You're the getter doner.
Yeah. So integrator is like two things. It's the getter doner, and then it's also, and the spiritual people in your audience will get this, is like integrating the mindset and the limiting beliefs and the new strategies. So integrating from a really holistic perspective all the things that you need in your business in order to reach that next level.
You know, and so many people in your lane and most business lanes miss that part. So I am like, that's what attracted me to you, really, is that main piece right there, because it seems like the puzzle isn't complete.
Right.
Without plugging into that piece too. So you have a massive background in this integration and this branding and marketing and standing out and above. Like, let's talk about that for just a hot second.
Yeah. So my clients are usually trailblazers, and it sounds like your clients are too, where they're doing things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And so the way I define trailblazer, and you're welcome to like jump in on this,
Yeah.
is the business owners whose professional title does not accurately explain all of the amazingness that they have to offer. So they might feel a disconnect between the terms like business coach or life coach or accountant or attorney, because they know that what they do is so much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is they might describe themselves or give themselves those titles, and the person they're talking to attaches all of these stereotypes or preconceived ideas that come from mass culture and other people's marketing, and they feel a disconnect because it doesn't necessarily fit them.
And I think there's so many people that feel that man, it's just not quite right.
Right.
Like there's just still something not quite right. And to have somebody like you come in and go, well, duh.
Exactly. Like this is the actual thing you do. We can let go of all of those names and like the preconceived stereotypes and everything, and like give you language that actually captures you. It's so funny because clients are like, oh, like you said, like, duh, like, why haven't I said this before? It is so simple. And the reality is it is really simple, but when you are so close to it, you have so much that you want to express that getting it down into simplified words feels really limiting. It feels like you can't capture all of that. Or you do the opposite, which is like you try to capture all of the, I call it the awesome, in a few words, but you're using words that are so vague that they mean nothing.
Right. It's like, it's, that gray word, or like vanilla, right? Like,
Yeah.
Vanilla is like the hot word to describe nothing anymore, right? Like it's just like,
I have a friend who calls it the cheese pizza.
yeah,
right.
Everyone
loves cheese pizza, but no one really wants cheese pizza.
And for those of us, and I think you really, really nailed it. We are so close to what we do that it's so hard for a lot of us to describe it, and to have the outside eyeballs, the extra language to tag on and go, hey, Erin, this is really what you do. Let me just help you there.
Right.
It's so intricate and really molding and being able to put that forward so that people get it. So I know that that's another really deep dive that you like to do with your people, is figuring out how to relay that so people get it.
Yeah.
Like, why is that such a struggle?
So
like, really,
it's a struggle because kind of the things I already said, you're really close to it. Everything feels really permanent. Like it's hard to make decisions because you feel like it's going to pigeonhole you, or you're going to be eliminating other things that you want to be doing. And the other thing is, so a lot of my clients, when they come to me, they find that whenever they describe what they do, they say it a different way. And they feel like they're kind of a hot mess all over the place because every time they describe what they do, they say it differently. And the reason is that like how they're responding is based on the mood they're in that day, what's top of mind for them. Maybe they took a training, or were listening to a podcast or a show like this and something clicked for them and they decided to integrate it into their message. So it's a constant growth process. So it's not surprising that you would say things differently, because the reality is you're growing and you are changing on a daily basis. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but what I do is I help you find the thread that connects all those different ways of describing yourself. And so usually all those different ways that you're explaining or describing what you do, you're really saying the same thing in different ways. You feel like you're a total hot mess, and that's because you're not anchored in knowing what your message actually is. But once you know that, then you'll project more confidence. You'll be able to describe yourself in a lot of different ways, but still staying around that core message, so you're not creating any confusion. People know exactly what you do. They know exactly who to refer to you. And that is what really sets you apart in this competitive marketplace where, there's a lot of messages happening and you need to stand out to those right people.
Yeah. And so Can we go there for just a second and figure out like how to narrow that down, that messaging, and like I know I'm stumbling over myself because this has been an issue for me in the past too. You know, when you're out networking, when you are in any social environment, maybe without clients, right? Like you're with your spouse or your partner or whatever, and you're in a situation where it's not normal to talk about, hey, what do you do?
Right. Yeah. When I talk to, normal muggles,
Muggles,
like the
right.
non-business folks, it's like, what do you do? I do marketing.
I do
That's
marketing,
literally
right.
all that they're going to understand.
Right.
But
Right.
yes.
So what's that look like? Like if we were to kind of go through a little exercise
Mhm.
and kind of narrow that down for our people, like are there ways to help us navigate those experiences, those situations, so that we're not uncomfortable?
Yeah.
And we know what we're going to say.
So
And it feels right.
I feel like in that moment when someone asks you that question, your brain goes in like a million different directions. That's problem number one.
Sure.
So what I do with my clients is I give them a framework to follow that can be adapted depending on the situation that they're in, like the context of the question.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everyone to know that it is okay to say something different when you're in different scenarios, because that in-person rapport that you're going to have and being able to have the context of the nonverbals and the relationship you have with the person and where you are all play into that conversation. If you come up with just a canned, this is what I do, people immediately shut off because they know you're just playing them.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different than when you're online. Like when you're online, you need to have the right message that's going to attract certain people, because you only get that one shot. Like you don't get to read the room, so to speak, and
Sure.
actually talk to a person. So if you're worried about that, like in the in-person conversations, don't stress about it. It's okay. Like give yourself permission to experiment a little bit and see, like it's really an opportunity for experimentation, because you can actually see the facial expressions and see the response you get and the kinds of questions they ask to know if that message lands or not.
Yeah. True.
And then you can translate that into your online marketing.
Yeah.
So that framework, it's really all about building context around what you say. Because when you come out with, I am a marketing expert or I am a brand strategist, with that word, it really means nothing in context. It's a title. Or if you say, I do X, Y, and Z, the reason why it falls flat is because you know that there is so much more behind that you can't express. So what I recommend is that you lead with the context. So I have this formula that I'll share with you guys called the Trailblazing Trifecta. So it's 3 parts, and it just helps you remember what the 3 parts are. The first part is the philosophy. And this is where you're really bringing context to the conversation. And this is where you can really tailor your message to whoever you're talking to. And the philosophy is your point of view. So if you are talking in a business, like you're in a networking setting, and you've been talking to someone for a bit and you kind of know what they're doing and you feel like they could be a potential client, then you can tailor your philosophy to, something that was already said in the conversation, or something that like you can already kind of see that they need. In that you basically say, what I have found is that when whoever the market is tries to do X, Y, and Z, so whatever the problem is they're solving, the actions they're taking, the results they're trying to get, whichever that is, this is what I see happen. Or have you seen this happen? And you're kind of creating context where they're like, oh yes, I've recognized that before. So an example would be like a marketing coach. So, have you ever, so what I have found is that when online business owners are trying to get their build visibility online, they are really, really hesitant because all of the marketing methods they're being taught feel really weird to them. Like it doesn't feel natural. It's, kinds of goes against what they would do like on a day-to-day basis. So it's like, it feels a little out of integrity.
Awkward.
Like it feels
Yeah.
awkward, it feels weird. And so like, that's the context. So that's the philosophy. That's how I see things. And the reason why it's important for you to know that it's a philosophy and a point of view is because someone else might have a completely different point of view.
Sure.
So this is yours, and it is okay for it to not be the popular opinion.
Sure.
So that's the philosophy. And then from there, you can say, so what I do is, and then you explain what you do. So how do you solve that problem? This is your method. So your method is how you solve the problem, and your methodology is why you do it that way.
Mm.
This is really, really important because if you look at most marketing, where they're describing a product or program, they're describing the features.
Sure. Right.
But not why they do it that way. So why do we have weekly calls? Why do we have this number of sessions?
Sure.
When you can explain why you do it that way, it makes a lot more sense, and it becomes less of a okay, I'm comparing these two completely different businesses based on like specific criteria.
Sure.
And oh, okay, that's why they're doing that. Well, that makes sense. Like, of course we would have weekly calls. I don't need any more than that. Like it just makes it, people buy in much easier.
Sure.
So then the third piece is promise. So after you've described, this is what I do, this is why I do it that way, this is what will happen as a result. So as a result, you will achieve XYZ without, whatever you mentioned in the philosophy. So without feeling weird and awkward and, or you'll achieve XYZ like in a completely natural to you way. It can be very simple. It's one sentence. And what this does is it brings context to what you do, tells people exactly who you're serving, what problems they have, how you solve the problem, and what the result is so they know the value. And it can all be done in about 30 seconds.
So
that was a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. So the formula again is the context, the point of view. Yep. So start it again.
So philosophy, which is your context and point of view.
Yep.
Methodology, which is how you solve that problem and why you do it that way.
Yep.
And then the promise, which is what happens as a result of doing things your way.
See? What a great flow instead of you need this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's actually telling them why and walking them through the process, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't feel completely natural to kind of just, what do you do? And you like dive into this diatribe.
Diarrhea mouth.
Exactly. It's like, I'm just going to like tell you everything. You can lead with, I am a brand strategist. Like that's what I usually lead with because it just kind of answers like the initial question they have. So they're not like, wait to get to the point. So it's like, I'm a brand strategist. Like, so what that means is, have you ever seen this and da, da, da. So you can use that, your kind of gut knee-jerk reaction response and just flow it into the trifecta essentially.
Right. So the formula is fabulous. Do a lot of people have a problem going, okay, well, how do I take my thing and plug it into that scenario, right? Like that formula? Because I don't know, in my head, I'm like, well, geez, oh, Pete, I'm like over here with the whole blah, 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 right? Like the whole compare, like when you're putting two hotels next to each other, right? Like you got the whole checklist or you're whatever you're comparing. But it makes so much sense to have the formula with defining basically inside the formula, which when you lay it all out your way, should be 30 seconds or less of blah, blah. But it seems like it's so spot on when it's describing exactly what you do.
Yeah. So the trick is, and this is because you're bringing up a good point, like you could literally go on forever with all of that, is to focus on one problem at a time.
Bingo.
And this is where targeting becomes really, really important. Like if I'm using a trifecta, because this framework works for sales pages, webinars, events, blog posts. And that's what I teach my clients to do is like how to use this formula for everything. So if I'm using it for a sales page, like you need to know who is coming to that page, who do I want to attract into this program? And so you're really using a very specific problem of that avatar and using that as a starting point. In conversation, this is where, like, if you're talking to someone, you can tailor it to what they're talking about or something that triggered, like something they triggered in your conversation. You can be like, oh yeah, like I totally get that. Here's what I've found.
Yeah.
So you're focusing on one problem versus like all of the problems you could possibly solve.
Yeah. Versus many. And it seems like it comes in more of a conversation than a talking at you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If you like tried to like write it down and rehearse it, it would sound like talking at you. Like it would be pretty aggressive. So I'm trusting you to use like your social skills and use it, your social intelligence, which I will say I am probably like pretty socially awkward in general. I've had to learn social like skills by watching other people. So if I can do it and have it come across natural, like anyone can do it.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's a learned comfort.
Yes.
The more you do it, the better you get at it, the more comfortable it gets, the more you can adapt it to the crowd you're in.
Yep.
Right. Like, yeah. So I want to like this whole in the copy world of online space, that 30 seconds seems like it's that's a whole lot of copy. Is it, or is it not?
No, it ends up being like 2 paragraphs. So each of when I'm working with clients and we create their elevator pitch, it's like 1 sentence each.
Yeah.
There's the who and do what. So I help this target audience do this, which is like the short version. And then philosophy is a sentence, methodology is a sentence, and promise is a sentence. When it comes to copy, it's completely different because it's a more of a big picture formula. So we start with the philosophy, which is the problem, so that people know that they're on the right sales page and this is a program that's suited to them. And then the methodology is where you're talking about the program. So you might have, the modules broken out and, why you're focusing on those topics.
Sure.
So it's a little bit different. What I'm talking about here is more conversation. Sure.
But where I'm going to is that's the extended of you, right? Like that's so your wheelhouse and so your lane of genius is finding that, picking it out, pulling the words out of your clients and going, hey, let's just dive this down. Let's focus this down. Let's get this focused up, whatever you want to call it, right? Like really dialed in to reflect who they are, what they're doing, and what their offer is, so that it's, you even said it, it's love at first sight, right? Love at first offer. And that perpetual scrolling stops.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's eye catching. It's something grabbed them. It's the language. You mentioned that right off the bat, right? Like that language has to capture, and it takes people like you to hone that in and draw that out and help mold, navigate, put that into words. I really want to dive into this trailblazing trifecta little helper that you have for our people, which Holly's been amazing to put this. I'm going to put this link in the feed also for you guys. But this trifecta little trailblazing workshop, it's not a workshop, it's a
worksheet. Yeah. So I have a worksheet. So yes, I am good at doing this for my clients. Like it's like butter. It just happens immediately. But what I'm really good at is teaching people to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
So I've worked on this for 10 years and I have a system for how you do it for yourself. So the worksheet will give you a starting point for creating your first trifecta and start using that framework. And it's designed in a way that you can create it on your own. And then, the branding game, which is my 10-week course, like you're really building on it and doing it for yourself. I didn't think that branding and messaging and that kind of thing could be done on your own because you're so close to it, but I figured out how to do it. So like if you're asked the right questions and you start thinking about things in the right way and they're done in like sequential steps versus trying to wrap your head around the whole thing at the same time, Like you can do this on your own. And when you learn that skill, it's like, yeah, it just makes running your business so much easier.
And like for you to see, like I can only imagine the joy, like watching the light bulb go on with your people too.
Oh yeah.
Like and going, yay, they got it.
Yeah. It's so funny. So I have this mastermind where, you know, people have been working with me for a few years, and even the new people, I had someone join just in the last couple months, and she wrote a description for a workshop, and she's like, like, how does this sound? And I said, you know, use the trifecta. And she's like, oh, duh. She wrote it as a trifecta, and I was like, that's it. And she's like, I can't believe I wrote that. Like, it makes so much sense. Yay! 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 It's so exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah, Gail's on here commenting. She's like, it's so nice to solve one problem at a time, and you don't have to tell the prospect everything you can do for them.
Right.
You tell them one capital one thing.
Yep.
And address the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. And then let it expand from there. And then it's a natural conversation instead of like, wow.
Right. Yeah. And keyword conversation.
Yes.
Right. Like massively key word there to that conversation, whether it's online and, you know, and you're doing it in Messenger, whether you're doing it in video, whether you're doing it at a mixer or a networking event, right? Like it's a conversation, you guys. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. So the trifecta, easy slide into anybody's terminology, copy.
Yep.
Anything like that. You guys, it's free. I dropped the link in the feed for you. Go ahead and grab that. I'm going to flip it back on the screen. So you guys, if you're watching from another platform, you can grab that. We'll make sure it's in our show notes. But Holly Chantal is seriously like the most amazing, grounded, spiritual, intuitive, online marketing genius, period. Like, I know.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot, isn't it? That's a lot. But like,
you're making me scared here. That's a lot to live up to.
Oh my gosh. You got the waiters on today. No, but like seriously, you're so in tune with your people and your brilliance, and it shines and it comes out, and it's really it's clearly this isn't scripted. It's really neat to watch it ooze out of you because it's not fake. I guess that's where I'm going with that. None of you and your brilliance and what you do and what you're like absolutely genius at is put on or fake or manufactured or
yes, I'm completely unrehearsed for better or worse.
It's not swipe copy from somebody else. I guess is where I'm going to go with that. Right. That's just like cut and pasted for somebody else. It's brilliance in a lane that you have stepped in and you own. And it really is it's fun to watch. It's fun to observe. It's fun to be around. It's fun to like, oh my gosh, like Holly.
Yeah. It's like, so it's like when I witnessed this with my clients. Like when you watch them do their magic, it's so cool. And I can also recognize that, you know, I have magic too. And it is fun to watch. So I know what you're talking about from like a logical perspective. Like sometimes on webinars, I'll do hot seats. Yeah. Where we'll bang out trifectas in like 5 minutes.
Isn't that fun?
And it's so much fun because I'm always like really nervous. Like, what if I can't get it? Like, what if I come up with something really dumb? But it's like, it's really cool.
Yeah. And it's those hot seats with you. Like, I'm sure those people just are like eating it up, and it's just amazing. Do you do those very often?
I need to do more of them. But yeah, I used to do them every couple of months, and it was, yeah, it's like people that were struggling for 10 years to nail down like what it is they do. And we'd get it in like 5 to 10 minutes. And everyone on the webinar would be like, yes, I want to buy that. Like, give me your email address. Like, we need to talk. Like, that's so what I need right now. And I'm like, okay, like, apparently we landed on something that works. Like, we already know. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. How can people find you? HollyChantal.com?
Yep, HollyChantal.com is the easiest way to find me. I'm also on Facebook. Feel free to friend me. Friend
her, hang out with her, be in her space. Seriously, the word wizard that she is and the brilliance around who you are and pulling that out, being able to pull that out is Holly's wheelhouse by far. You guys seriously pick up her little Trailblazing Trifecta download. We're going to put that up here one more time, hollychantal.com/trifecta, and you will be able to grab that. If you guys never want to miss another show with me, go ahead and type live in the comments over here on the Erin Strayer Show. We'll make sure we keep you in the loop and reminded and updated every time we go live. We would love to see you here. Holly, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. You guys seriously go grab her free download. That's hollychantal.com/trifecta. And we will see you all right back here soon again on the Erin Strayer Show. See ya.